Oscar was just a cat, but every time he lay next to a patient, the staff knew to call the family because that patient was gonna die. So this is a real story, you guys. Oscar is a therapy cat that was a resident at a nursing home in Rhode Island where he gained notoriety for seemingly being able to know when a resident would die. Oscar was not known as like a cuddly cat. He was kind of the skittish cat that was always around but never really wanted to be touched or petted, right? But every once in a while, he would suddenly curl up on a bed with a patient who was usually getting close to death, and then within hours, they would die. Now, the staff knew these patients were terminally ill. These patients were dying. But when Oscar would cuddle up next to them, suddenly they started noticing that the patients would die soon after. So it started becoming a thing that Oscar seemed to be able to predict, hey, this is going to be happening in the next few hours. If Oscar's laying with the patient, they're likely dying within a few hours. You better call the family. So as a hospice nurse, I have seen this somewhat. I definitely have seen pets of people who are dying do some strange things, which I'll definitely get into later in the video. But let's actually talk about what's biologically going on. Can animals actually sense people are sick or getting close to death? Science does say they may be able to, and here's why. Oh, and by the way, Oscar the cat has actually predicted over 100 deaths. Over 100 deaths. This cat is definitely onto something. Now, they do think cats can possibly sense or smell ketones in people's tissues or bodies. People who are dying a lot of times can go into ketosis, which can let off a scent. And as we know, animals are really keen and like they're hyper aware of scents. So that could be a reason as to why Oscar or any cat really can possibly sense that death may be near. We do also think that animals, specifically cats, and I will get into other animals later on in the video, but cats are also really attuned into human behavior. One, for their survival, because they are a pet and they need to be fed and things like that. So they're attuned to people's behaviors, and people's behaviors will change towards the end of life, and cats will notice that. They'll also notice the little subtle things that maybe human to human we don't notice, just because they're a little more sensitive to things like that. So it could be different things contributing to why Oscar the cat and other cats and other animals seem to be able to sense that a person's getting close to death. Now, it's not just cats that have been noted to be able to tell when their owners or people near them are getting close to death. Of course, dogs are one of the top animals that also can tell that something is wrong or that someone's dying, maybe dying soon. Horses can definitely sense if something is going on. Parrots are a big one. The last two are goats and rabbits. Who knew? Ghosts and rabbits. There's been some literature that says that horses can mirror emotions, mirror stillness, and do something called heart syncing. Parrots will often repeat the same thing, repeating phrases over and over again, or grow silent when they usually aren't silent. For me as a hospice nurse, the main thing that I have seen is dogs and cats acting different when their loved one is either dying or has died. So for example, I have seen dogs take on the owner's symptoms. So if an owner is really lethargic, like we're nauseous and vomiting and unable to walk, their dog suddenly would refuse to walk, would not go outside, acted like it could not walk. It was nauseous and vomiting, it would not eat, and it was really lethargic. And then when their owner died, those symptoms magically just went away. So I've seen a lot of that where the dog or the cat will take on the symptoms of the person. And I've seen a lot of dogs and cats being super protective of their dying loved ones. So never leaving their bedside, either sleeping with them all the time or sleeping under the bed and guarding the bed. So when I would come up the stairs to go check on the patient, they would eventually let me by and let me be with the patient, but they would bark and really try to guard their patient, almost like they knew that their loved one needed extra care. I've also had many families tell me that when the person did die, the owner did die, that the animals showed signs of grieving. Dogs would howl, cats would go away and hide and not come out for a couple days. So they would act funny, almost like they knew their loved one was gone. They would often go back to the bed or chair that their loved one used to sit in, kind of looking for them, waiting for them. So animals definitely do mourn when their owners die. So how can we help our furry friends? I think it's just a matter of knowing that they are experiencing this too. They are experiencing this loss as well. So allowing them to be with the patient. I think nothing is more healing than allowing the pets to be with their owner. So allowing them on the bed, allowing them to protect their owner as long as people can get by and eventually do the care they need, right? But allowing them to be there, allowing them to have their own process, and also making sure you plan with their owner, if possible, what's going to happen to the pet afterwards. Is there a place for them to go? And if there is, having them meet their new owners before the person has died, right? So kind of getting the pet used to the owners that will be taking over once their owner dies. All of that, taking that into account before the person is gone, I think would be really helpful. I think most of us know and have experienced that animals don't need words to show love. They just stay. They're just there, and their very presence helps us. From my experience, sometimes it's just the quiet presence of the pet in the room that can really bring all the peace.